What's up, everybody? It's Charlie and I'm back. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the 5 givens of life, the things that every human has to deal with, and so it's better off that we accept these things and make them a part of our lives rather than pushing against them or feeling like we are entitled to not experience these things. So all of this started because I read a book called How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Richo. This book was really helpful for me. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it was a good book for me and I learned a lot, and that's where these givens come from. So to start off with, the first given is that things end and change. And for each of these givens, there is other side of it too, that not only do things end and change, but things can also be renewed. I think about this in terms of people, that we're always changing and we're always becoming something different. I think for me, the scary part was on the that things end section. I think that's the part that I pushed away and pushed against for so long, especially when it comes to my relationships. I lived in fear that they would end and that I wouldn't be able to handle it. But the truth is that things don't just end, they can also be renewed. And so even though things might end with one person, I myself am renewed by the experience of having gone through that. It changes me and it makes me different. And so things change and things end, but they can also be renewed. The next given is that life is not always fair. This is something that I really wish wasn't true, but it really is a given of life, that it's not fair. And so the other side of things is that we can be fair and we can be just and we can strive to build the beloved community where everyone is seen and known and loved and encouraged to be their most authentic self. The third given is that we pay for growth with suffering. I think when I first heard this one, I was a little skeptical because I don't feel like I pay for growth with guilt, I don't feel like I pay for growth with suffering. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that suffering doesn't have to be this major thing. Suffering is a loss. And so for me, when I change, I am losing the thought patterns that I had before, and I suffer through the process of changing those patterns in myself and making them different and doing things different and being with people different and having different boundaries, and all of that can have an element of suffering to it. And so I think we do suffer when we grow. The other side of that is that we keep finding ways to build good out of evil. And that's something that I really focus on myself, like I said, when it comes to the beloved community and building something that can be better and setting that vision for a world where everyone can be free. And I think it takes some suffering to get there, but I believe that that's the growth that we need. The next given is that things don't always go according to plan. This is another one that's just really hard for me because I wanted to be able to plan everything and make sure everything was like put together and that I knew what was going to happen and all of these different things. But plans don't always go according to what I have put down. And so accepting that fact has helped me to also accept the other side, that even though things don't go according to plan, we can still say yes to what is and be thankful for what has been. And I think that goes back to mindfulness and just making sure we're living in the moment. That even though some things don't go right, there are still other things that we can appreciate about the life that we have. I know for me, there are some major things that I wish hadn't happened in my life, and they didn't go according to plan at all. But I know those things are part of what makes me who I am. And so I don't want to give up on saying yes to what is happening right now because of the past. I want to live in this moment and be thankful for what I have moving forward. The last given is that people are not always loyal or loving. And that's another thing that I think people really struggle to deal with, is that expecting our loved ones to be perfect, or expecting them to not just be perfect, but to meet all of our needs. And that's something that polyamory addresses, in that I don't have to be everything for any one person, that we can all kind of be different things for each other, or we can have one person who helps us with one thing and another partner that helps us with another. But even within that relationship, things are not always loyal and things are not always loving. On the other side of things is that we can be loyal and we can be loving. And I think that goes back to what I was saying before, from the Louis Biscaglia book, Love, that he talks about how love is a selfless act and it shouldn't come with any strings. Love and loyalty are freely given gifts if they're given out of love. And so I think giving things and not expecting people to always be loyal and always be loving to us is important. Not to say that we put up with anyone like disrespecting our boundaries or doing inappropriate things or anything like that, but giving people a little bit of leeway to not always be loyal and not always be loving, because that's not something I can achieve. And so I want someone to give me grace as I work through that with other people. Yeah. So anyways, those are the 5 givens. I hope there's something that you guys were able to take out of that. I definitely, like I said, got a lot of information and help out of thinking through these givens and thinking through the fact that they're just part of the human experience. And for me, I would be entitled to think that these things wouldn't happen to me, that nothing would change or end in my life, or that people would always be loyal, or that things will always go according to plan. All of those different things I can't expect to be spared from, because I'm human and all of these things happen to humans. So I hope this is helpful for you. I'll see you guys in the comments and I'll see you next week. Deuce.